He was at work early that day, a quiet day. There hadn't been a lot of people entering the shop for the last few weeks, so it was well stocked, as products hadn't been moving off the shelf, and there was very little to do. Being as how he had accomplished today's task, opening and unlocking the store, checking if things needed to be stocked, and checking in yesterday's delivery, he felt unmotivated but accomplished, and he decided to have a cup of coffee and enjoy a cigarette break. And it was outside of the break room. The horror began. While enjoying his cup of coffee and a cigarette, the gurgle happened. He felt it moving through his stomach, just below his belly button. The tension mounted until finally, a small push for relief turned into a nightmare. Feeling the back of his pants change consistency, a new fear lurched forward in his mind. He had gambled and lost. Dropping his cigarette and cup of coffee, he raced with clenched cheeks into the restroom to clean up. Thank God it's the slow season, he thought as he dropped his pants to relieve himself. He investigated the damage. There was none done to the trousers, so he finished and cleaned himself and stood to flush. But the water only rose in the depths of the toilet. A new wave of panic emerged as the bowl began filling. And at that moment, the front gate indicator rang. There was a patron in the store. With pants around his ankles, a rising flood threatening the bathroom, and a patron patiently waiting for service, his nightmare continued. He used the nearby plunger in an attempt to keep the rising tide at bay, but it was not effective. The water rose higher and higher until it reached the brim of the bowl, quickly being inundated. Moments later, the customer indicator rang again. There was now two customers awaiting the urgently plunging man, and with a final sigh of relief, the water began receding, taking its murky contents with it. He had turned his pants to their upright position, and despite the hurried nature of his situation, washed his hands thoroughly, as he'd probably be having to exchange money. He dried his hands on a paper towel as he moved through the break room, tossing it away into the trash can as he left. He emerged from the break room, making his way across the yard, looking for customers that were sure to be waiting, patiently or otherwise. When he arrived in the building, it was empty. There was not a person in sight. He wandered the property, looking for a person who was perhaps browsing in some nook or cranny, looking for a specific item, but alas, there was no one. And in a final stroke of horror, he realized it was back to his boring day at work. Welcome to the spooky episode of Black Sheep and Bad Apples.
Are you tired of shitting your pants? Are you tired of having a loose asshole? Try Crack Cock.
Crack Cock comes in all shapes and sizes to fill every one of those cracks.
I got tired of shitting my pants at work after my wife kept cooking me Mexican food. She's learning new recipes and she's terrible. So I started using Crack Cock. And it works.
I got this job downtown. It was like no other. I took the subway like 2 hours. 2 hours I fuck around. You fuck around, don't fuck around. I tell you what, I got this Crack Cock, no fucking around.
Crack Cock. It'll seal it up.
When I wake up in the morning, I put the cock right into my crack. It is thick enough and round enough to work through it the entire day. Thank Crack Cock, you saved my day.
Cracked cock, you fresh. You fresh like freshly cracked cock cocaine.
I mean, do you really like black coffee? I mean, have you ever even tried it? Try Crack Cock. It's like the blackest coffee ever.
Black cock.
.com.
Do you like things on the darker side of life? Try Black Crack Cock.
The critically acclaimed Boofable podcasts are here to stay. Now you can get your podcasts instantaneously. No need to wait.
Introducing the Boof RSS feed. Now get your Boof on blog. Anytime, anywhere. When you need it boofed, we got it blogged.
Instantaneously? More like instantaneously. You can shove these podcasts right up your bum, and they will be in your mind before you know it.
When people say you're full of shit, make that be a positive. Side effects include remembering Sam's grandma's funeral,
A love of cats.
Unwanted crying.
Superhero powers.
wanted crying,
Anal seepage.
Wind.
A
chimes.
guitar.
the ability only to taste cherry,
Umami.
All your fears as a child.
Octopus is coming to your front door.
all meat turns into impossible meat,
Having to eat all that octopus.
An awkward look at a doctor.
An awkward look at a girlfriend.
having a girlfriend,
Girlfriends are awkward.
I love that's what broke this group.
It's even better because we're all singing.
So welcome everybody. Tonight is a special episode. We're doing it live here at the Lewiston Hotel.
Well, it's
Instead
not
of-
live. It's just we've got an audience, kind of.
Well, it's
It's recorded
okay.
in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah,
it is.
there we go. There we go. I like that.
More NPR talk.
So, what'd you guys think of the story?
It was terrifying.
Honestly, it happened. That was a real story that happened to me yesterday. I was at work smoking a cigarette, felt a fart, gambled on it, and lost.
Oh, Jesus.
And I went to the restroom and I was like sitting there just like trying to push out poop and then like plunge the whole thing down and like it was terrible. And then the customer thing happened and it was just like, oh my God, like this could not get any worse. And then it occurred to me, it was like, I should tell this on the podcast. This is like shitting yourself is the biggest horror in real life that you could ever experience at work.
I think for the rest of us, the biggest horror about this story is that now we're publicly associated with it.
oh yeah.
So like,
The
This podcast
fear
is-
ensued.
it's like
Don't
that,
bring
like,
us into your shit,
going.
homie.
yeah, it's like the
seriously.
bad ending of like a Lovecraft story. It's just like oh fuck, really?
A portal open
Oh, shit,
in
everybody's
my
dead.
asshole.
yeah, exactly. And so tonight we're doing our spooky episode as we've talked about. We'll be having our friend and guest Joe Dacey come and join us. We're not really sure when, so he'll show up when he does. I'm really excited to do this episode. I've heard that you guys have a couple of scary stories. What you got a scary story, Ron?
I don't know about personal scary stories, but I definitely am a skeptic about ghost shit. You know, like most of that starts from my mom. Like she introduced me to the paranormal. In '98, she had a surgery having a hysterectomy, right? And while she was under anesthesia, she had this fever dream or like drug dream of her sitting by the bedside of her grandma Nadine. And all the while, she didn't know she was out. It was just like what she was experiencing. She was sitting by the bedside of her grandma Nadine, and she passed. And upon like seeing her pass, she ran out to the waiting room where the rest of the family was there, and she told them that she had died. And upon speaking that verbally to our family, she
In the
woke
dream,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, she woke up from her anesthesia, and the first words out of her mouth from this fucking fever dream and drug-induced coma or whatever, she's like, call grandma. And my dad actually did, and little did we know she had passed while my mom was in surgery. So, you know, there was like one of those weird things. She claims that she traded sides with her, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And from then on, you know, I've been really open to like ghost stories and paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
And in my experience, I've only had one like paranormal thing happen to me. And moving into this house in Hayfork, I found out that we had a lady commit suicide in what is now our nursery upstairs. You
Oh,
know?
excellent.
Yeah.
That's how horror
Best
movies
place for a
start.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so I've only seen her like fucking 2 or 3 times maybe. And it's not like a full apparition thing. It's like still kind of gas figure, you know. You
Well,
can
your
see
creaky
through
door
'em.
sound while you're telling the story.
Oh,
Ron,
the creaky door story.
Yeah, Ron decided to get an app
Oh.
for the episode where he's got like creepy noises on it. Yeah.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah. So just
What do you mean, creepy noises? So we opened the door to the other side. And so the first time I saw this ghost, apparently I found out afterwards that she had committed suicide because of domestic abuse problems. And had hung herself. And it wasn't a nursery before, but it's the nursery for a kid now.
Yeah.
And she had just been tired of getting beat and
Jesus.
hung herself in a spare room,
Yeah.
And I've seen her 3 times now.
So you've seen paranormal activity.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, for me, it's kind of weird because coming from somebody who's a super skeptic and, like, I don't even have nightmares, man. Like,
That's weird.
Like, I've never really seen anything scary in my dreams at all.
Well, we were talking about it earlier, and you've got this thing called hypergoglia.
Hypnagogia?
Hypnagogia.
Yeah, so it's like, typically speaking, like, it's when you have kind of like
What is that?
hypnagogia.
Hypnagogia.
Hypnagogia, yeah.
Is that gonna? Man, that sounds like the word.
You
That
might
sounds
wanna
like the word of the
Google
day.
it.
Yeah, it
Word
does.
of the day.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
dictate.
Word of the
How
day.
Word of the day with Dick Tape.
Hey guys.
Our word today is hypergoggia. Gogria.
What is it?
Fucking Google it. I don't know. Hypnagogia.
Hypnagogria.
So it's basically as your mind is getting tired at the end of the night, you have these hints of hallucinations, where you see like shapes and figures when you start to close your eyes, right?
You with a waking body, your mind starts to enter a dream state.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, they're trying to make up excuses for what you experienced during the day or whatever the fuck. I know for a fact that's not what this was because I was full on awake. But I realized afterwards, because of the domestic abuse things, she only appeared after me and Justine would have shouting matches, And she just always was floating in the distance, watching over what was going to happen.
That's scary.
Very weird.
Speaking of scary, actually, I got nothing. I don't know why I set it up like
Nah.
that. Speaking of scary.
We, at my parents' place, they had a very similar interaction to what you're saying, and the lady that owned the house she didn't commit suicide, but she died in my parents' bedroom, obviously years before and stuff, and then they bought the house, and for a few years, my dad said he would see this lady entering and like different spots, watching him, being in the doorway when he'd like look over and stuff, and then heard a couple sounds a couple times, and it was around for a bit, but then I guess it was almost like because the daughter sold the house, mom died in it, she stuck around for a while to like make sure the new residents were cool, and then once they kind of got to know us, then it like just kind of went away or something like that. I feel like my dad had it was like one final thing where she was like, all right, like,
And do you have
I got to get over this, and
Yeah.
then took off.
Yeah, do you have any kind of like really kind of quick, weird paranormal stories?
Like quick, no. I've had a bunch of paranormal stuff happen to me for sure.
Yeah.
Scary
the
story.
quickest little thing that I could relate is I used to live in Manchester, Vermont, and my girlfriend at the time worked right across the street at the Manchester Inn, and it was just an old hotel.
Yeah.
But it was super fucking haunted, and on multiple occasions, she cleaned rooms, so she'd be in there, redressing the bed, and like spread a sheet out on the bed, and the sheet wouldn't.
Touch the bed?
It would like lay over a shape in the
Ooh.
bed for a second, like way longer than like an air pocket in the sheet should, and almost until you like touched
hit
it or hit it,
Yeah.
or she'd be making a bed and like realize that the rocking chair in the room was rocking for no reason at all and stuff
Creepy,
like
yeah.
that.
Ron?
I don't know. That's
so
not
glad
that
you got
scary.
the-
That's just annoying.
Yeah.
What is that?
Our listeners are
It's
going to be
just
like, what the fuck
it's
is
the-
going on? Yeah, that's just really, really... I'm so sorry that I said to you, Ron, to be interruptive with your
So yeah,
sound
but that
effects.
didn't happen to me. You had asked if I had any scary stories that happened to me, and I
Yeah.
do.
Well, real quick, because I wanted to touch on paranormal, but I want to get to your scary story.
Yeah.
My paranormal stories are just like not even that scary or anything like that. What happened is like I remember vividly one time like putting my keys on the counter, freshly cleaned house, so everything just stands out, every item. And I remember walking into my back room and coming back to the front room to grab my keys again to go off and do something, and they were gone. And so I started looking around the house, and I got really, really frustrated and just angry, and to the point where I was like, well, obviously I'm not leaving, so I'm going to sit down and get high. And I just hit my bong a couple times. And it was like an hour later, I got up to go get something from the fridge, and they were sitting right there on the counter. And my personal thought is that my grandfather he was quite like a practical joker and a jokester just in general. And so I think that he's fucking with me. I think that he takes my keys and he hides them like in the ethereal realm just for like an hour or so. And then he always puts them exactly right back where they should have been the entire time. So that's my paranormal experience.
Interesting.
But
Not so scary.
not exactly. It's not that like scary stories. Well, let's get to your creepy story.
Okay, so my creepy story is not too dissimilar from a lot of other creepy stories, it turns out, about this one place in the Capital District in New York, upstate New York. It's an abandoned cemetery called the Pinewood Cemetery, and it was a humongous cemetery at one point, with like mausoleums and massive statuary work, and hundreds of tombstones. But like a cemetery is a business.
Yeah.
And so the business collapsed, and the forest just grew. No one cared for this cemetery. So there's this forest outside of Troy where the Pinewood Cemetery is, and there's a lot of local history around it and a lot of local paranormal lore. And one Halloween, actually, this is probably an anniversary or very near the anniversary of when we went, because it was just before Halloween that we as a group of, I don't know, 3 cars worth of people decided, because my girlfriend was studying archaeology, so she did this report on the Pinewood Cemetery, like local archaeological.
We get it, Ron. You got
report for
sound
school,
effects.
and she's telling us about this thing, and somebody's like, "Let's go." And so we all drove there, and we went to this cemetery that you had to like kind of break through this rusty old massive cast iron gate, and like there's collapsing mausoleums and like just weird tombstones falling over in the woods, and trees growing up and falling down.
Man.
And there's some paths cut through it and stuff like that, but most of it's just forest. So we split into 2 groups, and we're walking around individually as our 2 groups, and some kind of weird, freaky things happen. Like all these glowworms showed up, and they're like weird, like all of a sudden, like we see these like lights in the forest that are not fireflies. They're much too big and not bright enough to be a firefly.
Yeah.
And they
In the
almost look like,
forest?
Were they really numerous?
They almost look like blinking eyes at first, and we're so we're kind of working ourselves up and like spooking ourselves out and stuff. We figure out they're glowworms, we laugh and blah blah blah, and then we just randomly run into the other group of people in the middle of the forest, like in front of this statue that is commonly referred to as the 7th gate to hell. It's a statue of an angel where the arms, wings, and head have been knocked off because the statue experienced allegedly stigmata. So it would bleed from the hands and the eyes, and then the wings would apparently get bloody too, something like that.
That's
Damn.
creepy.
And
So people went out. So people went out there and like knocked it off.
Somebody literally went there with a hammer and smashed the statue to stop it from doing this. So we're all crowded around this statue, which like we weirdly all like met up at. And Jessica had mentioned that like, to open this gate, you knock on the statue hard 3 times on the front of the statue. And I'm like, fucking let's open the gate, you guys. And somebody's like, quit fucking around, you know what I mean? Like, dude. And I just walk up to this thing and I knock 3 times right on the face of it. And as soon as my knuckles hit on the 3rd knock, there was like this, like the whole thing surrounded in bushes, right? As soon as my hand knocked on it for the 3rd time, like this hot, oppressive sort of force, like blew out of the statue. I don't know how to explain
shit.
this. Like it moved all the bushes. It like raced off into the bushes, and we all stopped. Like nobody made a fucking sound. Everybody felt it. It wasn't just like we all looked at each other like, are we having a group hallucination right now?
Yeah. But that
and
seems
then-
unreasonable to
And then, like, I heard the thing like coming back. If that makes sense. But you couldn't see nothing. You could just, and it was just sort of like moving like a breeze, like moving the bushes.
Yeah.
But it was like a breeze alone. Nothing else around it was moving. And then it like got to me. And I was like enveloped in this.
You got
Like
got.
it was cold. It was like 40 degrees outside. It went from 40 degrees to like 100 degrees. Like instantly, and my ears popped like I was in a fucking airplane like that just went to 40,000 feet.
Yeah.
And like my eyeballs, like I felt like I was at the bottom of a fucking swimming pool, surrounded by like the most oppressive, crushing weight of, and I felt it move and slide over me, and then it just moved across me to everyone else that was there. And I watched.
shit.
I didn't say a word. This 10 seconds has gone by.
Yeah, this whole thing from
The
knock
only
to
thing
to
that's
this.
happened is somebody was like, "Whoa," and we looked at each other, and then I felt this, and I froze. I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
You know, my heart was gripped with like anxiety and fear.
Holy shit.
And it left from me, and it slid across everyone there. It was like touching you, like not in a
Like-
good way.
Yeah, like
And somebody like was like, "We need to get the fuck out of here."
oh yeah.
Right? And we all agreed instantly we needed to fucking get the fuck out of there. So we tried to leave. And like one at a time, one of us
Were
would
you-
be like, "No, let's go back. I'm going to go back."
Were you guys
I'm going to go
Were
back.
you guys like stoned?
I mean, we're a little high. I don't think anybody was like really fucked up. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
smoked a little weed. But one after another, myself included, each one of us tried to go back to the fucking statue. And we had to drag the person away until they were like, "Dude, okay, I'm good." And then
Jesus.
somebody else would do it. And nobody, this wasn't like, we weren't playing a practical joke on ourselves. We finally get out of the fucking cemetery, man. And we get back to the car, and like two people have their car keys. The car I'm in, my friend Desmond does not have his car keys. He cannot find his car keys.
But his car is filled with car keys.
But his car's no. And David Blaine is standing there. We're like, "Fuck you, buddy." No. So we're like, he's like, "Dude, I know where my car keys are." And I look at him. I know where his car keys are too. They're back at that fucking statue.
Oh,
They
yeah,
have to be
at the
right
gate to
now. They
hell,
have to be
for
back
sure.
at the fucking statue. Nobody else wants to go back to the fucking statue.
How long of a walk is it from the car to the
It's
statue?
like 10 minutes.
So it's like a
It's
quarter
a good
mile, half
walk.
mile.
Yeah, it's not too far, but it's a good
Yeah.
walk, and it's through the woods, and it's dark. It's
Yeah,
pitch
yeah.
black.
Yeah. Well,
Clouded.
and it's a cemetery.
And it's a cemetery,
Yeah.
and it's a forest, and there's look, it's really cloudy at that night. So it's
Oh,
like it is
shit.
fucking midnight black, like
You know,
squid ink blackout.
That's the perfect setup for the start of a murder movie.
So we're walking. I have this particular thing that I do sometimes where I just find stuff. We're walking back to the fucking statue, and in my gut, I'm like, I know now, as we're in the cemetery, I know where the keys
you know
are.
right where they are.
They're not at the statue. They're over there in that fucking mausoleum that we didn't go in.
What?
And we walk into the fucking mausoleum. I convinced Desmond to go in the mausoleum. We walk into the fucking mausoleum, and there, in a clearing in the fucking like leaves, no one went in the fucking mausoleum. Right? Nobody went there. None of us went to this building.
man.
Right in the middle of this fucking little perfect circle, like so perfect of circle in the fucking dirt and leaves is the keys. Fuck off. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck. That's the craziest, creepiest, scariest shit that has ever happened to me. Put me in a hole covered in dirt before I go back into that fucking cemetery.
Oh yeah.
Fuck off.
Are you ever gonna knock on that statue again?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I
So-
feel like I might still be dealing with that shit to this day.
I was gonna say something like that where
That,
like
I need like
that was
exorcist or something.
Yeah, like that was a long-term thing that happened. Like a spirit doesn't come and pass through you with that amount of like warm energy, and you leave unfazed.
Dude,
That's
not
super
to
creepy.
mention, man,
Honestly, I think it's trapped in the fucking statue. It can't leave the cemetery. Once we left
Yeah.
the cemetery, everything got much better immediately.
Oh yeah.
Like
Not to mention, why the fuck would you even walk back to the mausoleum at that point, man? Dude,
Yeah.
like, what are you walking towards?
Well, 'cause
certain
The
death?
keys.
As Sam-
And we needed to get the
Jesus.
keys.
Yeah, and Sam was saying he's got like a sixth sense for finding lost or
Lost items.
Yeah, lost items. Yeah.
Especially the more I need them, or somebody else does, like the easier it is for me to find it.
Yeah.
So, in other words, you threw him there?
Huh?
So, in other words, you threw him there, right?
Yeah, you were
No,
fucking with
I did
Desmond,
not.
weren't you?
They were in Desmond's pocket until we were going back to the cars.
Yeah, that's super.
None of us went to the mausoleum.
That's-
No one in our party, out of anybody there, went to that portion of the fucking cemetery.
Man, it's so.
Nor could anybody make a circle that fucking perfect in the ground. I don't know what to
Yeah.
fucking tell you. I wish we had cell phone cameras to take a picture
Yeah.
of it, because there was no dirt on the stones. The dirt and the leaves were just pushed back from the stones. There
And
was
so-
something
so bringing up-
unreal about that.
I think all horror movies have like a kind of there's two ways you can go about making a scary story, or by listening to a scary story, or have something be scary. And one is that something unexplainable happens. You had keys in your pocket and they were gone, and then you found them in a different location. How the fuck did that happen? Nobody knows. But the other end of that horror, I think, is real life shit. Like, cops roll up to this just as an example, like this quarry, and find this woman brutally murdered, and pieces of her are strewn everywhere. And the scary part about that is we know that most likely a human did this, but it's such a literal and real life thing that's what's terrifying about it, is that it's not some like spirit out in the world
for sure.
trying to get
People
you.
can be terrifying.
Yeah, and so I've got a story about that actually. Before we get over here to Sean and his horror story, because I'm very, very I'm very excited to hear yours. So me and my brother, we were probably like, I don't know, 14 years old or something like that, and we're chilling at our house. Our mom had left for the night to go off to work or something like that, and so it was me and my twin brother, and we decided to stay up till like 2 in the morning. And at like 1:30 or so, the front door opens up. A face peeps in through the door, looks at us, closes the door, and then knocks on the door. And so some dude opened our door, put his face in, closed the door, and then knocked. This is already fucking weird. So we go up to the door and we open it, and this guy, he's on one. Like, I'm pretty sure, I know he's on drugs after. Anyway, so this guy's just like, hey man, what's going on? He's like touching his face and like moving his mouth and just like being super weird. He's like, how you guys doing? Mind you, it's like 1:30 in the morning. So like, he's definitely on
So he's
drugs.
on meth.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he proceeds to tell us this story about how he and a bunch of friends were going off to deliver some drugs, and then they saw red and blue behind them, got panicked, ate all the drugs, and then they drove their car into an orchard and just split off into different distances. Now, if we're gonna believe what this guy was saying, he was out there for 2 hours, which means that he roughly had to walk like 6 miles or so. And he came from like the next town over, apparently. Yeah.
2 hours for a tweaker is like fucking 2 days, man. Like,
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, and so he's telling us this story, and mind you, he's standing at our front door at 1:30 in the morning. So we're like, okay, how is this pertinent? What do you need? How can we help you? He's like, he starts like peering into the house, and then he like kind of pushes through the door and takes a step in. And he was like, do you guys have like a phone that I could use? And we're like, yeah, because that was back in the day of like, you could either have the internet or a hardline phone. So my brother had to get off the internet and then let the guy use the phone. So while this guy's using the phone, standing in our in just the front step of the house, he's like looking around at all our shit, and he's like, oh, that's a really cool Xbox. I like your computer. You guys have any cash in the house? What about your mom? Is she here? Asking all these really fucking weird questions.
I don't have any cash, but I do have a 45 automatic.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, he's on the phone with his mom. Like, mom's talking, and he's saying this shit to us. So I don't, like, he was on a whole nother level of weirdo. And so finally, after like 20 minutes, he gets off the phone with his mom. He says that she's going to be there in the next, 10 minutes or so. And he's standing there, and I'm just going to use a name because I can't remember his name. His name was like Big Boot. We'll use that. And so Big Boot was like looking at our house, and he's like, at this point, I'm like, he's scoping the place out. He's looking to rob us. He's looking to like come back and with homies. And finally, Big Boot, his ride arrives, and he gets out in the car and takes off. And me and my brother are like really uncomfortable, so we go and grab our gun, or the family guns, and we like sleep with those at the house. So I wake up the next morning, and on the news, there's this guy. Just using another example, David Big Boot Martinez was shot in the face last night with a shotgun around 3 o'clock in the morning. He's expected to survive.
Dude, meth will make you survive anything.
Bro.
Well,
Fucking
birdshot
try
don't
hard enough.
puncture your skull, you know?
Yeah, but it was just so crazy because like this.
It just peels the flesh off
Have you
your
ever
face.
seen a fucking how far a tweaker will run after they take a buckshot to the face? Man,
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. It's like a deer after you got a trap, you get it, but then it runs for miles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and he survived too. I think the meth was the only thing that kept him alive.
That was what kept him going.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
like, yeah.
It was like,
It sounds like he got the big boot to the face.
Yeah.
oh,
yeah.
like, honestly.
did
Same.
you just? That's
Same.
not a plug, is it?
No, that's,
Plug.
We'll plug it. Plug it.
But no, we should throw a plug out there. We're here at the historic Lewiston Hotel.
Yeah, we are.
Built in 1863, and it burned down in 1897. Yeah, and Ron, I think you heard a couple little
Man,
spooky history
Dude, this
stories
place
about
is
it.
fucking haunted, man.
For
Like,
sure, this place
fucking,
is haunted.
first of all,
Just look at the front door.
shit, like it's mining towns, man. The entirety of Trinity County, for the most part.
yeah, that's.
You know,
I mean, this was the Wild West for 150 years.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Oh, if you want
like-
to talk about like ghosts and spirit and things like that, like
Dude.
creepy old towns.
Yeah,
like, this
places
is
like
the,
Lewiston, Hayfork, High and Palm. They
Oh,
were
I'm
all
not
like they're
even
the
gonna-
last. They were the last places to like civilize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
know
not
what I
even gonna
mean?
talk
Like-
about like all the fucking Indian genocide and shit. Like, you know, we got the Bridge Gulch massacre.
You mean Native American genocide?
Ah, you're right.
You see how I
fuck.
high roaded
Yeah.
you just
I
there?
love how
Yeah.
you're all PC and shit.
Yeah.
But
not-
yeah,
it's not
like
PC,
all
it's
the
just-
Native
it's just-
American
Correct.
shit aside, man, like tons of people have been fucking killed here in this general area.
Oh, yeah.
But so I brought up the fact that we were talking about like haunted stuff and looking up Trinity County's most fucking haunted places in, you know, and fucking 3 stories just popped up while I was working, you know. My shit, I have short shifts, like
What were
5
the
hours.
stories about?
Oh, dude, so
This
apparently.
hotel?
Yeah, dude, those were the ones that were brought up first and foremost, you know.
And everybody who worked at the hotel was dead.
No, apparently it's just apparitions. Actually, they're like full-on
yeah.
physical bodies. But so apparently, I did not know this, but this place burnt down in 1897.
Yeah.
Found out on the placard outside as we came in, and the stories they were telling me was the ghost of the urinal. Which,
Oh
my
I'm already
God.
terrified of urinals. So
Yeah.
like a ghost, a haunted urinal, or a urinal that is a ghost. No
dude,
bueno.
apparently
Haunted
there's a
urinals.
little
Yeah,
boy
haunted urinal.
that
I'm
haunts
good.
the place with his face scarred from like you're not coming back from these type of burns, you know.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You
burned
take
to
a
death.
piss.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
The
Oh.
kid that burned to death ghost.
Maybe that's why he's fucking there though, because he's like so on fire and inflamed that he sees you pissing. You turn around and he's just hoping you're gonna douse out his fire.
I honestly thought you were gonna go.
Ron,
he was like a Smokey
I-
the Bear kind of character.
It's like I didn't think that you were gonna go there, or I would have just kicked you
yeah.
in the chest.
Yeah.
Like this is
Dude,
Sparta.
apparently
but
this is a real thing. Like maybe I'll get
I
haunted tonight
don't
because I just
think
made
that
fun
the,
of him. But
the little
still.
burned boy
Peeing
ghost
thing.
guy wants you to R. Kelly him.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
I'm pretty sure that's not where it's going.
hey,
Yeah, hey,
Reagan
Sam.
came up with it in the 80s.
What?
It's a trickle-down effect.
Sam, let me
Okay.
ask you a question. Have you trickle down effect?
Oh, I'm listening.
Have you ever R. Kelly'd a ghost, a child ghost?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're missing out, bud. It's the spice of life.
It's
Dude, plus they're
Well,
thankful
I
for
guess
it.
I guess if I see him tonight, I'll have to shoot him a little stream or something. I feel so uncomfortable just trying to make this joke right now.
What I'm picturing is later tonight, because we got a couple of different hotel rooms. I'm just picturing later tonight, we're just gonna be drunk and debaucherous, and then we're gonna see one of us stumbling out of the bathroom from like the sidelines, see him falling out of the bathroom with his dick in his hand, peeing everywhere throughout the air, and being like, "Back, ghost, back, get back!" Oh no!
See, that's what I'm hoping for.
Oh
We're
my
staying at an old hotel in Lewiston in an old mining town. Creepy night. I'm like, we got to have some interaction going
Oh,
on
yeah.
tonight. Like, something's got to happen and whatever.
You guys want to hunt ghosts tonight?
I brought a Ouija board.
Oh yes.
Dude, that's made by the Parker Brothers. That shit's full of shit.
It's just
There's
full of
no
magnets.
way.
No, this
Wait.
is a Ouija board made out of the bones of my dead enemies.
Well, it doesn't make it work, dude. It's still
It cost
fake.
many souls to make this Ouija board, and I paid a witch
Well,
doctor
and-
well to do it.
And you don't know, maybe the Parker brothers
Not
are
for
like
the
a
spell on
severely
you.
fucked up corporation. Maybe they like genocided
Yeah, I
people
mean,
in order
seriously,
to
Parker
create
Brothers, that's like Satan. You're like basically working with Satan at that
Yeah,
point.
Honestly, if you want to hear my fucking explanation for that game, they tried to make up a board game, right? And it just wasn't selling. The instructions to how to play the game were too difficult. So like, fuck it is ghosts.
So
Like,
Risk.
fuck it is haunted.
Well, they
Fuck
they
it, just
just
like put your hands on this thing and it'll tell you stuff.
so they just started selling it because it was that they were like, oh, no,
They
the
already
rules are
made
too
it.
complicated.
We made
but
a board game more
I-
boring
no,
than backgammon.
I think it's one of those games. It's one of those games where everybody in their friends group has that one friend that you're like, now everybody put your hand on it
And don't move
just,
it.
and don't move it. We
Just
gotta
let it
have
move.
faith and trust in each other, and it'll show us. And there's always one friend that's like, I ain't gonna say shit. I'm just gonna move it.
yeah.
And then
Are you that friend?
No, I wasn't, but I did
100%
have
he is.
friends like
You
that.
100% is.
I was
That's why
the
he's
friend-
saying no right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. That's what I'm like. I was the friend that got all gullible and was like, maybe it'll move. And meanwhile, my friend next to me is like, yeah, it'll move, and pushes a little bit, and I'm like, ooh, I think it works, and that sells millions. Is what I'm getting at. Is because we all know we have one friend that'll screw with your other friends.
Ron's off to go visit the ghost room. He's gonna go
He's going to look for Burn Timmy,
burn Timmy. That's
Crispy Timmy.
crispy Timmy.
Yeah.
I like how you were
Deep fried
You're
Timothy.
comfortable to make the crispy Timmy joke, but the R. Kelly crispy Timmy is just too much.
Man, I saw that picture of the little girl running down the road in Vietnam covered in fucking napalm burning to death
Oh,
when I was
yeah.
6 years old. Like,
Oh, that's
like, fuck you gonna, like, I can make jokes about this shit now because I'm well and deeply scarred to
yeah.
burning
The
babies, you know what I mean?
the traumatic
that shit
event
happens every day.
The traumatic event is past, and now you can make jokes about
before
it.
we're done with this podcast, somebody's gonna die in a fire somewhere in the world. That's just
Oh,
the way
yeah.
the world is.
Yeah.
Rough.
So are you guys happy listening
It's
to the podcast
Halloween,
yet? It's
huh?
Halloween, and we're definitely not here. We're not here to bring happy stories. We're here to bring some scary stories. And I hope you guys at home listening to this are just a little bit uncomfortable. Like, not like really uncomfortable. Like, I'm going to shut this off because that's bad for my podcast.
I mean, I'm sure they're uncomfortable listening, but
Well, I mean, because, yeah, I forced them all to listen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They got a gun to the back of their head. Proverbially, not literally, for legal reasons.
I only do this to have friends.
Wait,
I mean,
What?
we're friends? I got to go.
oh, no.
Anyway, so back to the segments. Sean, you got a little creepy story, something scary to hit us with?
I think I do got a little creepy story. It's not really like creepy, but it took across some creepy events where I
So-
thought it was very coincidentally creepy. So I guess what I'll get at is,
It's rather than it being like a haunted story, it's like, no, this like raw trauma actually happens. Be aware
well,
of it.
just like some things you think about, like maybe like the curses of something or something like that. You know, like they'll super. Oh, there's a curse on the whatever. Don't mess with it. You know.
Yeah.
So when I was going through film school, I decided to do a documentary at a theater, the local theater in town. This theater had been around since like the really early 1900s. I think it was built in like 1910 or 1912 or something like that. And anyways, back in the day, it was a popular theater in town, and it was like a full production. They had like the catwalks up top, you know. They had
Oh.
like a big tall stage, and they had big seating, old elegant seating with red.
Actual legs.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah. No, it was like heavy curtains, heavy red.
Big fucking like one
But like a
inch rope
full
and
size
shit.
stage,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like the ropes are
Big
amazing.
velvet curtains. Oh my god,
So-
I love big velvet.
I did.
I don't know why either, but they're just so like fascinating. They're
So-
Like,
gorgeous.
stick your face through them and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
So I did stagehand work at this theater for a while, and I was also going through film school, so it was like a side job that I was doing, and I enjoyed walking around the catwalks, and I enjoyed all the ropes for all. They got the sandbags on the ends of them and shit like that. But the big Broadway shows that would come down, they show up with semi trucks, and I'd unload that. So, anyways, so there's a legend. So what happened is history is told. Back in the day, when the theater was originally built, there was a stagehand there that was working, and that was like his night job. Went there every day. You had to clean them off the floors. You had to do the just regular stage
Wait,
hand stuff.
this isn't the story that I thought you were gonna tell.
No,
Did
So-
you dupe me?
I think I did. Yeah.
He did.
Hell yeah! I am so excited.
So, learning the history of this, I did a documentary. I met this author he wrote a book about. It's called The Ghost of the Capitol Theater. So I decided to film a documentary about the Ghost of the Capitol Theater, and I interviewed the author that wrote the book about it. I went
Damn.
to the theater and I went through the catwalks. I interviewed the staff there, and got some real eerie stories. And there's some creepy parts about that theater. As you're walking around, you're getting some shots. You can kind of feel it. I don't know really how to explain going through the catwalks, all this stuff. So the story goes. Back in the day, the stagehand was working there, doing his part-time job, doing stagehand work, but he was really despondent with his wife, and like, they weren't getting along. You know, they
Yeah.
were going through some rough times, and inevitably, what happened is they went through a divorce.
Hold on, this is very unprofessional, but I'm gonna yell at Ron to get me a beer. Ron, grab me a Dale's Pale. Can you?
He needs a DP.
Go get beer. And,
Yeah, that's
Jesus
just the most.
Christ.
Never mind. Just
Sorry,
let him
Sean,
think it's
sorry.
haunted.
So, anyways, at this theater, as the story goes, the stagehand was working, was going through a divorce, had troubles with his wife, all this type of stuff, and he got really depressed one day. And he went to the theater, and instead of mopping up that day, he went up on the catwalks and he took one of the ropes and he
oh shit!
tied it around his neck. And
Oh,
it's like
shit.
a 3-story drop from the
Yeah.
catwalks to the stage.
Make it easy.
Oh, no,
yeah.
so
Instantaneous.
He jumped, and I've been on the catwalks. I've looked down walking around up there, and it's like you're looking down at the stage and you're like, oh shit, that's a long ways
Mama
down
had a
there.
baby and his head popped off.
No, so no. So he ties a rope around his neck. He jumps off the catwalk over the stage, but because he's a little bit heavier guy, and it's a long ways down,
no.
that's exactly what happened. Head snaps off, body hits the floor.
Fucking betted.
Boom.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the rope broke.
Oh, dude,
'cause
there
that-
might have been.
No.
There might have been a good length of his spine laying out.
Oh
the
no,
bottom of his
Yeah.
the rope
fucking
was
neck.
good. In theaters, they got good quality
Well,
rope.
and
You know what I mean?
that's what I thought you were
1-inch
going-
hemp fiber rope ain't
So,
breaking for a fatty.
anyways, what happens is
Well, I just thought about how bad, like how horrible it would be if he's got like a broken neck. He's laying on the ground 3 stories down, and he's
Oh,
just
no,
like,
this-
I can't move, and I'm
this
Nah,
disconnected
he did.
head from
Oh, yeah.
body.
guillotined himself.
Body hits the floor. Now blood spills everywhere onto the stage.
Did you get footage of it in your documentary?
Blood spills everywhere on the stage. They went in and tried to like clean it up, do all their cleanup work and stuff. The theater burned down like a year later.
Thank
When
you,
the theater
Ron.
burned down, the stage didn't completely burn, and a lot of things, but the theater, a lot of the mainstay of the inside did, so they had
Like
to
the ceiling collapse or something.
a bunch
from
of
the
bullshit.
fire.
But they went in and
Wait. So how did the fire start?
I don't know how the fire started.
Oh,
There was
okay.
just a fire back in the day that started in the old theater.
Yeah.
They recovered the stage, but it was the original decking that was on the stage floor. So the stage, as it is this day, still has the original floorboards from the blood-stained floorboards
Oh,
that this guy
shit.
literally hung himself in. And this isn't like a fabricated story. This actually happened.
Yeah.
So ever since then, there's been this ghost of the Capitol Theater. People walk, you go into the bathroom, you go in here, a creepy story in a bunch of different rooms, and there's some creepy rooms there and stuff.
Holy
So
shit.
I filmed a film documentary about the ghost of the Capitol Theater. I interviewed a bunch of different people there and got all their creepy stories. And where I found my creepy part of this whole entire interaction was, as I was making this film, we capped all the creepy stories, we got interviews, we showed some areas, we showed the stage, we looked at the this, we looked at the that. I mean, there were stories of how a guy stayed overnight and left in the morning unable to speak because he got terrified so bad that he couldn't, like fear or fright, couldn't talk. And so there was these like things happen. There's like this curse, kind of this
Yeah.
like if you screw around with the ghost of the Capitol Theater, he's not gone, type of deal.
Oh, so the story gets-
At the end of the film that I made on this documentary, I tried to add in this clever deal where the filmmakers, which I showed myself and I showed my buddy Jeff, at the end of it was like this extra eerie to the story of my documentary. It was like, and even the filmmakers on their way home from the film died in a crash or something like that. And I flashed these images real quick, and it was just like creepy stuff happens, and it showed the filmmakers, and it was me with the photo, and then my buddy Jeff, and then car crash photos. And it was just like subliminal, like real quick. I flashed these photos. I was like, horror stuff, creepy stuff. Ghost of the Capitol Theater still getting you. It even got the film people.
For what effect?
Just to add to the it even got to the film crew, that made the documentary, even though it was just
doesn't that take away from the whole documentary part of it?
Well, it was just a gag.
You're lying.
It was just a gag at the end of it, and it was obvious it was a gag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what happened though was 2 weeks later, I'm working on my car, and I told you this story the other day. I'm working on my car with the buddy that I filmed this documentary with, and we're changing the rear end. I put a lift kit on my car, and we had to roll the axle out. As I'm rolling the axle out, the car dropped off the jack and fell, and by the luck of whatever, it caught a jack stand that was not meant to be where it was at. It just had gotten kicked under the car, and it hit his head. And if that jack stand wouldn't have been there, it literally would have smashed his head on the ground.
Holy fuck.
Now, this was right after we filmed this documentary, and at the end of it, we flashed car wreck things and stuff. It was we died in a car wreck, and then
then a car wreck almost happened.
2 weeks later, my buddy almost died from a car smashing him.
See, that's why you don't fuck around with the dead.
And so I was like, maybe we shouldn't. He was just kind of like, yo, don't watch where you're walking.
Yeah.
I ain't messing around here. I'll drop a car on your head.
Watch where you walk, or you and your homies.
And it
might
creeped
be
me out
lined in
because it was like, did he watch the film?
No,
Did the guy see all the shit we made, and he knew, and he was you think that's funny?
The spirit watch
you think that's funny? Watch this. Don't know where that came from, did you? Make another film. I dare you. And I was just like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't mess around with this anymore.
All right, so I got another story for the time being. It's actually a family story. Me and my whole family.
The drummer might be here.
Different. It looks like you forgot your beer. By the way, thank you for getting my beer on. I appreciate that. Thanks for getting my beer, bud. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, man.
And so I've got another story. It's actually like a collective story from the family. It's a collective story from the family, and it's about the haunted house we lived in Willows. I'm going to summarize it real quick because it looks like we're getting ready to shut this thing down.
Are we doing the long special this week? I think we're doing the long special, aren't we? So I think you tell your story, and then we'll cut for a commercial break, and when we come back, it'll be part 2.
All right, that sounds great. This haunted house, and again, this is a collective story. All my family threw in their different experiences for me to get this big picture. So I'm just going to tell you my story, and then I'm going to tell you little bits of their stories that I can remember. So my story of living at this house was kind of the same thing about how my grandpa fucks with me and takes my shit. But I had a favorite glass. It was like a Batman glass as like a 6-year-old kid. And I put it on the counter behind us, or on the little island in our kitchen. And I turned to the fridge, grabbed the milk, turned around, poured the milk into the cup, turned back around and put the milk away. And then when I turned back around to grab my glass of milk, it was gone. Just completely gone. And then 2 weeks later, I found the same ice-cold glass of milk sitting on the back of the toilet.
Whoa.
Dude, toilet milk?
Weird.
Toilet milk.
Yeah.
Seriously?
No, and it had condensation running down the side of the glass and everything. Okay, so that's my what I remember of the hauntings of this house.
All right, quick
Scariest
question. though.
milk story
Did
ever.
you drink the milk? Was it that cold?
I honestly couldn't tell you if I drank it.
Did it still smell fresh?
It smelled fresh.
Creepy.
I don't really. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember what I did with it. I probably did drink it because I'm like a 7-year-old kid. And so then my mom, and I told her this story like 20 years later. And then my mom told me, she was like, oh yeah, I had to get a carpenter to come into the house and seal up all the closets. And I was like, why seal them up? Because apparently there was a little finger hole at the bottom of all the boards of the closet where you could pull it up. And then 4 feet down, there was a bunch of like 1940s old wooden like cars and like toys and like child things, like a ball with the hammer thing. What's it called? The ball with the mallet.
Paddle ball.
Yeah, it's like paddle ball. Yeah, something like that.
With a paddle?
And so that was
The little paddle ball.
That's it?
I don't know.
yeah. I don't. I don't
It's
know what
called
to call
stick
it.
ring.
No,
It's called,
yeah, I
you know,
feel like
like-
it had a name, but
Yeah, it definitely had a name. Anyway, let's not get too caught up on the details. But so this was underneath all the closets in all of the bedrooms in the house, and it was a 3-bedroom house. And so that is also kind of creepy. But then as soon as we moved into the house, our very, very black cat decided that it wanted to attack everybody.
sorry, African American? No. Oh,
No,
cat.
it's a cat.
Gotcha.
It's a cat. And so this cat would just come into our rooms in the middle of the night and scratch the shit out of our faces. My mom remembers us waking up screaming. And then,
Dude, wait. What kind of animal was this?
it was a cat. Thank you for that, Ron. Anyway, so, and then there was like glass breaking sounds outside of the house, like constantly. But whenever you went outside to like investigate them, there was nothing. In the attic, which was only like a 3-foot space, there was a little workbench with like vices and hammers and stuff up there. And like, I don't know what the fuck was going on with that house, but I can tell you that it was very much haunted. Yeah. And it was just a terrifying experience. Anyway, we're gonna take a short commercial break, and we're gonna continue our bullshit.
We'll finish the rest of the podcast later with less
Yeah.
Oh,
Part,
yeah.
roll.
I think part 2 we
Yeah.
might do either in a creepy hotel room
creepier
here.
ambiance.
Yeah.
Than, the
Yeah.
bar
A little
at
quieter,
the
a little
Silence
bit
is
more.
hotel.
so creepy.
Plug.
So thank you,
Yeah,
Lewiston
big shout,
Hotel.
yeah, big shout out to these guys.
And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Bum, dun, dun.
Bum bum. Bum.
Strip when tight screws. Have you ever wanted to put something together that you can never take apart again? Use strip when tight screws. They strip every time they get tightened.
Have you ever wanted to build a building that was as strong as Wolverine's bones? Use strip when tight screws. They are guaranteed to never come out.
Strip when tight screws, making deconstruction of your construction fucking impossible.
They will never come apart. They will never come out of what you put together. They will strip every time they're tightened.
Strip
Nope.
when tight. This next segment is brought to you by Ugly Motherfucker Makeup. Ugly Motherfucker Makeup. Are you tired of being any kind of attractive? Then Ugly Motherfucker Makeup is the makeup for you.
Ugly motherfucker makeup. I might be an ugly motherfucker, but I don't know now because I got makeup.
Are you tired of being a Casanova? Being hit on everywhere you go? Isn't it exhausting just to deal with people who find you attractive? Well, with our new patented technology, everything is slightly tie-dyed in our color palettes and in our lipsticks. So don't worry, you will always look fugly. You will never look how you want to.
Our research scientists have spent countless untold hours formulating special compounds to make you as unattractive as possible to literally anything in the world.
Uglymotherfuckermakeup.com.
You'll look like you got hit by a bus.
I'm hideous.
Doodly-doo-doo-doo.
In a world where aliens are flying through outer space and Timmy has to run across to the neighbors for an egg to save his dog, nothing is sacred. New this summer coming from Plot Hole Studios by director John Woo, Plot Holes the movie.
Hey, Susan. How you been? I mean, oh no.
What do you mean my dog got hit by lightning? He's made of rubber.
That is not as insulating as you'd think.
Get down!
Pop, 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 pop!
Get back out into the chopper!
But Susan, why?
There's no one left, Karen. There's nobody left.
Who's gonna bring me my latte?
I can't believe you. He's a Jedi?
Plot Holes introduces the movie Plot Holes.
August.
Are you tired of having to take your regularly prescribed pills every day and remember it? It's such a burden. You go into your bathroom every day and brush your teeth, and you just forget that the pill items are down there. Introducing the Risky Pill Dispenser.
Risky Pill Dispenser. Its motion-activated alarm will remind you to put it to good use. Its oversized hopper allows you to load it with whatever pills your doctor may or may not have prescribed for you, and it'll dispense them 5 at a time randomly with the push of a button.
Risky Pill Dispenser, refillable by mail. You'll get all the pills you need at random sake and have no idea what they are at all. You can take them anytime you like and go on your own adventure.
I bought the risky pill dispenser, and I ended up getting 6 Xanax, ended up on a bus to Mexico, where some real nice guys, I can't remember really what they were saying, but they ended up observing me on a bus back to Memphis with helping me and taking my wallet. I can't thank the risky pill dispenser enough.
Risky Pill Dispenser is not responsible for any overdoses or malignancies caused by its use.
Risky Pill Dispenser, brought to you by the makers of Risky Pistol.
The
Brought to
Risky
you by
Pistol.
the makers of Risky Pickle. Welcome back, everybody. We're here at Fourth Corner Studios. Thanks for enjoying our live special episode, spooky special episode at the Lewiston Hotel. Now we're back in Fourth Corner Studios. We got Sam here.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And we also got Lauren O'Brien, our regular host. But a special guest we introduced earlier. We have Joe Dacey in the studio again tonight.
Thanks for
Great to see you, Joe.
Yeah,
Howdy,
real
howdy.
pleasure, Daisy.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. What's been going on with you lately, bud?
Oh, just living that hay fork fun life.
Oh, yeah. Working constantly.
I
so
believe you.
Yeah.
yeah. Feeling
Yeah,
all...
I'm gonna see this guy's body language right now. That's great.
I think everybody loves to hate that mountain life. You know what I mean?
It's that time of the year. Big shout out. Let's plug Harvest. Harvest.
Oh, a sponsor today, Harvest.
Harvest and all its travesties.
and all the hardships it comes with. You reap what you sow.
Ooh, band lyric.
Yeah. Reap what you sow.
Harvest. Your 12-year-old self will love you. Your 20-year-old self will hate you.
Oh, yeah. So you heard my story just now.
I did, and that is a terrifying tale.
Yeah,
It's not a good
Pun
one.
intended.
Yeah, it's really shitty. So do you have a story of maybe shitting your pants?
I do.
Ooh.
I have a story.
Another spooky shit panting.
One
shit panting.
Shit panting story.
Shit panting.
Ooh, I
Word
have,
of the day.
now I
word
have
of the day.
two actually. I got.
All right.
So I was on my football team's pool party like celebration thing. One of our coaches had a pool and a locker room in their little pool house.
Nice.
I didn't know, but it was a compost toilet just for peeing in. So in just a freak out of emergency, I ran out of the pool. I make it in time to the bathroom, but load up this toilet that just does not flush with solid matter in it at all.
Oh,
and
no.
I also played it off like it wasn't me through the entire party.
No.
So I just took
no
the
idea
step
what
back.
you're
Yeah, be like, oh, that is crazy. I wonder who did that.
Mr.
That is.
Simpson.
Oh.
I think somebody pooped in your
Yeah.
pee-only toilet,
And
which I am now learning about.
oh yeah, they are all just learning this right now that it's me. So this will be a
How
fun
old
one.
were you again?
13, 14,
Okay, all right.
maybe
Nice.
around there.
Like nearly adulting.
Just
Time.
enough where
Past the
like
statute of
yeah,
limitations.
like
Right,
it was
right,
definitely
right,
yeah, I should not have done it. I was going to a private school, but did not go to the football team there. So this was the cool friends at this that I would hang out
no.
with instead of the Catholic school nerds.
So did you become aware of your bowel situation when you were in the pool, shitting in the pool?
No, I made
Wait,
it
you
to
shit
the
in the
bathroom.
pool?
No,
that's
What
what
did
I'm
I miss
asking.
here?
No, that's
yeah,
what
no,
I'm asking.
I made it to the bathroom. That's fake news, but
That's trademarked now, according to Facebook.
oh well, yeah, all right, we got to pay money.
Shit. We'll just bleep it.
Yeah, okay.
That's my new disclaimer for everything, according to Facebook.
According to
Fuck you, Zuckerberg. It's more corporate beef.
Yeah.
Corporate.
We're going to get drone striked.
Yeah, corporate beef, I
Strokes?
guess.
3, 2.
Struck?
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Oh man. So you said you had two stories though, and you didn't shit the pool in this story.
But I did shit a pool in the other story.
Yes, you've got a Baby Ruth real life story.
Yeah, it didn't leave the
awesome.
full story. I was at Willow Lake Day Camp in Marstown, New Jersey. Well, I just shout out to them right there.
Plug.
Yeah, and
Is that a good town, would you say?
It's
not
in
really.
New
No.
Jersey.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean,
it's a
that's
New
what I
Jersey
mean,
town.
So we're all of the same opinion that Jersey sucks.
Like
Yeah,
he's from
yeah.
Jersey and his name is literally Joey. Like what the fuck?
Wait, it's
That's not the reason why you should hate me, but yeah, it's one of them.
No, wait, hold on. Do you have a sister named fucking Rhonda?
I don't have a sister.
Oh,
so,
okay. Is your mom named Rhonda?
No.
Aunt?
Lori.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Close.
from Jersey, you got Lori.
Oh,
You
fucking
go down to the
Lori.
shore, get some hot dogs, some
Yeah,
coffee.
family
You
talks
shit
like
your
that.
pants in the
Needle.
fucking beach.
your family talks like that.
I got a couple, like dog. Dog is a big one. Yeah.
Say drawer.
Drawer.
Draw.
Crayon.
can't.
Crayon.
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 Cinnamon.
A crayon.
Crayon sounds so bad. Like cranberry.
Crayon.
Say tour.
Tour.
I knew it.
So the story was I was at Willow Lake Day Camp. Second plug.
I love this.
I was in a pool for our free class swim time, and I felt that little gurgle. I threw the dice a little bit and got snake eyes. Like
no.
I filled up my pants. I remember running to the bathroom and having my counselor follow me in there, and we had to call my mom. She came to the camp. She took me out of there, and I don't think I went back for the rest of the year. I think that was like
dude,
the
you
end.
had a hard evac.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
extradition from
It was
summer
like coming
camp for
back.
pants.
Oh yeah.
That was a military exfil right there.
It was so
Did the camp
embarrassing.
And then
counselor
SEAL
put, like,
Team 6 extracted
Yeah, yeah.
Joey from Jersey from camp.
Did the camp counselor like put a towel on you as he ushered you to your mom's place or to the
Oh,
car?
they had to go and like I changed. I went to the shower. Like
It
it
was a
was
Tom Clancy
yeah,
moment.
well,
Yeah. It's like a Splinter Cell move. Oh man,
got deloused.
Sam, you ever?
Yeah, you gotta. I feel like now we gotta round.
We've got to
'cause
share it.
I-
Unfortunately,
No,
Ron's not with us, but
I
he-
was thinking of this. I was like, I feel like here's the theme now. Like we've got a new
yeah,
theme.
now we
It's
got the like.
so
embarrassing shit moment.
I don't
story.
have a pants shitting story. I've never
But
like I've had like it's not like dude, yeah, have I lost a little gamble, but it was like oh no, that's not a fart and
Did-
like yeah, I had to go wipe.
but you were good.
But it wasn't like, oh my God, there's people and my pants are full of shit and my
Yeah.
mom's got Tom Clancy and Barack Obama with like old
This sounds
school
like a
drones
justification for
extracting me
shitting your pants a lot.
No, I've never, but I do
I've
have.
never shit my
No, but I was thinking about it. I do really have like a horrifying.
But just a word to the audience: we are going to get to a couple of horror stories. I think Dacey's got a couple, but we're moving.
I mean,
to,
yeah, spooky stories
we'll
aside,
stay scary.
but like real life childhood horror like stories about shitting your pants or like workplace horror story about shitting your pants. So I pissed my pants once in elementary school, like way past like bedwetting age. You know what I mean? Like I'm in like third or fourth grade.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That's excusable.
no,
though.
no,
Yeah,
no.
I blame teachers
But
for that.
no, I knew I had to piss, but I was in this like I
pissed
was
myself
doing
as
the
a
thing.
23-year-old.
I was doing this thing where
I
like
wasn't even
I
drunk.
was reading. I was in this like little secluded group. Like there was 4 of us. There was 4
Nerd.
kids. Yeah, nerd for sure. Yeah.
Get
But
'em.
we were doing like because I had honestly like until I met Sean. Shout out plug.
It's not a plug. Fourth corner is a plug.
No, Sean's a
Plug.
plug too, dude. He's an entity,
I mean, he's
Hell
just
yeah.
the
and I'm
co-
repping him right
no,
now.
he's just the co.
Well, if you'd shut the fuck,
he's not even that detrimental.
nobody
to the show.
cares what host he is.
He doesn't.
So anyway,
Onward
moving
with the story.
on. right. You want to hear the pants pissing thing.
Yeah.
So, but until I met Sean, like I really had like just this insane stage fright. And I think that part of what I was doing, like they were having, I was like 4 kids that like really needed some time reading aloud in front of a small audience is basically what was happening, right? So we're reading from these books. I've never had a problem reading. Like my issue's not reading. Like we're reading aloud, and it was my turn to read. And as I needed to read, or was reading, I needed to fucking, oh my God, I started to have to piss so bad. But I didn't want to stop reading. Like there was something about like me, I needed to read my paragraphs.
Yeah.
And I like held it so long I just pissed my pants. Just pissed my pants. Just like in front of 3 girls and like a teacher, right?
Nice mic kick.
Yeah. You like that?
I don't, but continue.
It's okay. Fine. We'll edit it out.
No, we won't. I
Okay,
want everybody,
fine. We won't.
I want everybody to see your faux pas.
So then I'm walking down the hall to the nurse's office because the nurse has spare clothes for you to piss.
They always
You know
got
what I
the
mean?
oddly,
Like
they got
got
the
you
like spare
covered.
set of
Yeah.
like
Oh,
just,
the lost and found from the whole year.
There's some like
Like, throw
beige
this on, it'll fit,
corduroy
it'll
for
get
you
you
to
through the
wear
day.
for sure.
And like
we
an
can't get a hold of
oversized,
your
like,
parents
hoodie.
more or less, so you're gonna
wearing-
get through the day
it's
with
like-
this, and that's
Size
how it
too
is.
small
No,
or
we-
10 sizes
we
too
washed,
big.
We washed these underwear in the industrial washer that the janitors used to use, like wash the rugs or whatever. You know what I mean? So they're clean, technically speaking. Put these in.
But they're still
I'm
piss
walking,
pants.
but I've got
They're
my
still
pissy
piss
pants. Here I am walking from one end of the school to the other. Because, like, literally, I'm on one end of this fucking building. I got to walk all the way the fuck to the other end to the nurse's office. And right in the middle of this whole thing, I run into, like, my best friend. And he's like, bro, did you piss your pants? and I was, dude,
I
was
water on it.
fucking exactly right. I was so horrified. Like I just lied to this kid. Like straight face was like, nah, dude, I spilled a bunch of water on it and I'm going to deal with this scenario, whatever the other thing I said.
Was he one of the cool kids?
No, but he was just like,
Oh, so never mind him. Fuck him.
I was never one of the cool kids either. What the fuck?
We weren't suggesting that.
Yeah, no. But what the fuck?
But
man?
yeah, it's like, no, fuck him. He's on my
you,
team.
Joe.
Team
No, yo, turn the fucking podcast off. Right.
Oh hell no! This is all going.
No,
on.
yeah, keep it on.
Oh yeah, this
But I
episode
was
now
just-
is named "We're showing off that Sam's a loser."
So I
Scared
But
of
I was
wind.
bullying.
just to
Scared
can I-
of wind.
Shut the fuck up so I can finish my stupid ass story. Jesus Christ. In that moment where I was like, no, dude, I fucking spilled water on myself. I was just horrified. And it reminded me of your story and your story where you guys shit your fucking pants. Who's the fucking loser? Fuck you guys, I'm leaving.
so
It's 2 versus 1. We're the majority, man.
Sean's the deciding.
that's on like I guess I gotta add to since that we're going around the circle here and we all got a
Are
story.
you team shit your pants or team piss your pants?
Well, horror story. I guess like shit
Lock him
related
up.
story and stuff. So
sorry.
what I guess I noticed in everybody's one was this was like years ago. So my story is like everybody's like, well, it's excusable, like you said earlier. It's oh, you were that old, it's excusable. You can do that. It happens. That's just something because you were young. So I got to bring up on the last Merit Parcel tour.
Oh no.
I didn't shit my pants, but
Per se.
it was like
Pregnant
your first
pause.
story you were saying, Joe. You were like, it was a close call to the bathroom. Well, I had
That's
one
what
of
mine
those.
was as well.
I had one of those moments on the tour.
Was this after the Indian food?
No, it wasn't after Indian food. It was at a random gas station we stopped at,
okay.
where there was like the gas station, but then there was like another restaurant over here or
Were
something.
we like already stopped, or did it happen on the bus?
No, we stopped. We were
Okay.
everybody was kind of
Because it would have
doing.
been bad if it happened on the bus and you just have to sit there and act like nothing's fucking happening.
Oh no, but this was one of those like I had been waiting on the bus for a while, like oh
Yeah.
I'm good to go, like it's too early in the morning, I'm gonna wait a little bit, like sleep it off or something. No, it got to the point where I was like, when we made our stop, I was like, cool, I'm going in this store and I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then get
Do my
whatever
thing.
snacks and
You
stuff I need after.
stiff-armed the doors on your way out.
So no,
No,
I made.
he's saying it wasn't that urgent.
So I
if I'm
made it. They
getting what
got
you're saying.
two stalls. They got the handicap stall, then the regular stall, and then there's a couple of urinals in the bathroom. And there's somebody in the regular stall, but nobody in the handicap, the bigger one.
Yeah.
So I go into the handicap one, and I, sit down. I do the business I got to do and stuff like that. Here's where the horror ensued is. So I do my business. I'm all like finally relieved. I obviously gave a good dose to the toilet, and so, so
Because it's medicine.
yeah, because it's capped its capacity apparently or something like that. When I hit the flush, here's where it happened. When I hit the flush of the
Sam's
toilet,
face is so
it's
good.
it's the different horror where it's like now I'm in a public place.
And it's
I hit the flush. The bowl is
filling.
is filling
Brimming
and
over.
filling and filling. It's not going down. It's not doing the
I
business.
like
The
that
toilet that.
we've each experienced a chapter in my book.
So now the toilet is not doing the appropriate part of the toilet's job.
Yeah.
And what I recognized is
Blame it on the toilet.
in this big stall.
Not your huge.
There's
asshole
also one
shit.
more stall next to me with another guy that's doing his business. And as I'm sitting there, I know there's another person in the stall as this bowl is filling up, and I'm like,
you better finish up quick.
yeah.
Bombs away.
So it was no. Well, then I'm hoping, I'm praying like in my head. I'm just like, please stop at the rim at least at the top, like top it off, whatever I can do. There, I'm
Come
looking
on,
around for a
Jesus.
plunger, and as I'm looking around for a plunger, you can see the feet of the person next to you in the stall.
Yeah.
He's
Looking
wearing.
around for a plunger in a gas station bathroom.
Why don't
You
just
never
run?
know. You never know. There might be one right
Run.
there where you. I'm just no.
Like, hurry. In
Drop a cherry bomb in it.
No,
and
this
run.
is-
Get out of here.
No, this is happening.
Wipe and go.
This is happening quick. So as I'm doing my maneuver, I'm like, oh, this is filling up. I'm like, is there a plunger? Nope, no plunger. I'm looking around. I can see the guy's feet. He's wearing sandals.
Socks.
No, I mean
Sandals and socks?
flip flops. Like it was a trucker wearing
You
flip
could see
flops.
his bare foot.
I could see his feet with a very small sole.
Because if he was wearing socks, then you don't say nothing. You just casually walk away and let that fucking psychopath get
No.
shit on
But
his feet.
There's no excuse for
No,
that
he's
kind of
he's
bullshit
wearing
in
like
America.
flip flops or sandals, like not
That
much
should be-
covering his feet. Like I can see
That should be-
barefoot. But then this thing hits the brim, and now it starts going over. There's no plunger in sight.
It's
There's
bowling over now.
oh now I'm hitting the door because
You're
it's
like,
it's
"That's-
starting to spread, and I was
That's what I ate.
I was more or less counting how
suspense
long
is
it was gonna
killing me.
take for the water to get to his feet before he's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, goddamn. So I had to make
Still,
like
he hasn't walked away. That's
yeah.
the part I'm
no,
not.
this is
Well,
like
no,
I'm like door open
How
now.
many
I'm
seconds have passed?
Yeah, because like
quick.
I am
Like I mean under
See,
10.
like-
Like
I'm under so much goddamn suspense with this fucking story. I just did
Well,
it get on his sandals?
I just had to make the bail on it. I was just kind of like, sorry, bro,
But you just dipped.
and then dipped on it, and
Oh
then.
my god!
But what was it was what I felt great, and the kind of like
You
horror
shit on
part. No,
someone.
he never saw who I was, and I was only hoping he didn't recognize my shoes when I was standing in line in the convenience store later, getting my snacks and goodies for the road later, because I'm sure that he had to deal with the fact the floor just flooded after I flooded the toilet.
Or the floor flooded.
And,
He tried to dive out of that stall like it was a fucking Mission Impossible explosion.
You don't know that he wasn't dead.
And
Maybe
hit his
nobody went in the-
and then hit his head on the sink and just died in that bathroom.
No, I had to
He
watch.
could have been dead in there for half an hour before the next person
I had to
needed
stand
to go
in line
fucking take a shit.
and just wait for one of the convenience store
man.
staff to be like, "Yo, the bathroom's out of order," and I was just like, "Huh, do like, I don't know. Oh, that guy was a jerk. Oh man, I kind of timidly walked back to the bus and was like, "Yeah, I think I wrecked that bathroom."
Yeah. So you're on team shit your pants then.
Yeah, it
Fuck you, Sam. We win.
I don't think that's.
It wasn't a
your
shit my pants story. It was I just wrecked a bathroom.
That's a
horror story.
whole other.
Are you
he's-
afraid of
He's
being
basically
a
like
trucker's
an
enemy for the rest of your
independent.
life?
If
where
we're
this
like
guy's gonna
Dems
be
and
just
Republicans right now.
That's a good point. What did you say, Joe?
I wouldn't say that, but I did fear it in the immediate, like, given next half an hour while I was hanging around that place. And so I was like, we need to get down the road. Like, hey, are we done here? All right, let's load up the bus. We good? Everybody do their business. They get their groceries. Let's go. And they're like, what's up? I'm like, nothing. I think
Oh,
I
we
just
gotta
wrecked
go.
that bathroom. And they're like, oh, you must have farted really bad. I'm like, no, I wrecked it.
I
Like, they're out of
literally-
order in that bathroom.
Somebody's
There's going to
mad.
be a
Somebody's
lot of
going home
truckers that
pissed
are
off.
unhappy for a while coming in this place that are like, what's up with the bathroom? Like, out of order. And they're like, what?
Somebody was about to be in the mood that you and I were in, more or less, until we.
And
got
that's
here.
where the fear ensued. It wasn't one trucker, it was the ensuing truckers that may have related it
I'm
to
gonna
the
get
bus
boxed in on the
identified in the
fucking
parking
freeway.
lot.
Yeah, they're gonna like radio it to each other and be
Yeah.
like, "The guy with the Nikes got on that tour bus. Get him."
Get him.
And then
It's
he's dead.
real. I mean, our tour bus is super fucking obvious.
It's very identifiable.
It's definitely
It's a big
identifiable.
sheepdog, right?
Yeah, basically with a
yeah.
yellow stripe down the side of it. It's like, yeah, look for the fucking handicapper bus with a bunch of punks in it.
Oh yeah,
You
We're all
know?
punks.
Well, I guess we should move on with the next part of the topic. The spooky stories. Now that we got our horrifying shit stories out of the way.
Yeah,
I
Alright.
have a horrifying truck stop story.
I mean, do we want to do the Sam segue? the
No,
truck
I'm
stop
just saying,
story?
like, I have other horror stories.
Well-
I'm sure Joe's probably
yeah, let's-
Joe's like the resident storyteller, so I think we should probably
Got a
let
couple.
Joe tell a few horror stories.
You're right, Joe. The talking hat is now on you.
All right,
even
I got I got a story. This story is about little Timmy. Now, little Timmy, he's always wanted to stay home alone, but his parents never let him. Then one night, his parents got an opportunity to go away and spend the night over at a fancy hotel. None of the babysitters are picking up. So, little Timmy, he's got this dog, Spot. Spot loves little Timmy. Timmy loves Spot. They get along really well. Spot's the protector of the house. So they feel like they've got this relationship down. They tell Timmy, look, if you lock all the doors, you don't let anyone in, we've already cooked your dinner, like just go to bed and everything will be fine. Timmy's over the moon. He's excited. Yeah. Like, he's immediately getting all the junk food in the house. Like he's sitting in front of the TV. He's
Watching
watching.
movies he
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Like then breaking news comes in. There's a insane convict that's gotten loose from the jail. He's running through the woods and not to let anybody into your house. That's when he hears the bang, bang, bang on the door. Now Timmy's already he's freaked out. He's shaking. He runs, turns off all the lights, and he goes and grabs Spot. He's holding on to him. Spot's growling a little bit, and all of a sudden silence. He hears nothing. No one banging at the door anymore. So he's fine. He's made it. The guy's moved on somewhere else. He goes up to his room. He starts getting ready for bed, but he's still, his heart's beating a mile a minute. He doesn't know what to do.
Would you say he's likely to piss himself?
I say probably a Sam level scaredness.
Yeah.
But so what he decides he's going to do is he's going to listen to some of his CDs in bed, and he's going to hug his dog. The spot's always there for him. He starts hugging his dog.
He's a good boy.
He starts drifting away. The dog calms him down. Then all of a sudden, bang, bang, bang. 3 more knocks at the door. The dog just jets for it and starts growling again. The kid's he's feeling a little safer now. He knows this dog's here to protect him. So he starts drifting off a little bit. The dog's got it. He hears the dog going up the stairs, gets into his bed next to Timmy's bed, and puts his hand down. The dog licks his hand a little bit and pets his head, and Timmy starts falling asleep. Every once in a while, he wakes up, and he's a little nervous again, but he puts his hand down to Spot, feels the head. The dog starts licking his fingers again. He's all right. He's good. He gets through the whole night. Then little Timmy wakes up. Timmy looks down. He doesn't see Spot anywhere, but Spot's never really there in the morning, so it's okay. He starts getting ready. He opens his door, goes to the bathroom, starts getting ready to brush his teeth. He starts seeing blood. It's filling the toilet or the tub. It's all over the place. He looks up in the mirror. He can't believe what he reads. He rips open the shower curtain, and there's Spot, dead, just blood everywhere. And on the mirror it reads, people can lick hands too.
Oh, shit. I didn't like that story at all. The dog died. And
That's the story I'm not allowed to tell kids anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were a counselor for a while.
That's...
Yeah.
They let.
Oh, yeah.
I like your shirt too. Like you can't see it because this is a podcast, but he's got this really kind of nice. Like it's a dog shirt. There's like a big dog face. What is that? Pitbull-esque.
What does it say on it? A dog is the only thing
on earth that loves you more than you love yourself.
Well, that's damn true.
Well, yeah. What's up with the dog shit, dude?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why do you like murdering
killing
dogs?
It's fucking terrifying.
Fucking yelling
I don't want no part of that.
Like,
it was the only scary story that I heard around the campfire that ever stuck with me.
Shit.
Like I can't forget that story, and now it's stuck with all of you. That's the true curse of this story.
Again, it makes me really sad, like in the sense of like I Am Legend, where Will Smith's dogs get bit, or the dog gets bit, and he's got to like sit there and like choke his dog out, and you're just like this is
gonna have to put her down.
Oh man,
Old Yeller,
heart wrenching, dude. Yeah,
my dog
Old
Skip.
Yeller.
You ever see that one?
My dog
Frankie
Skip.
Muniz.
Oh Jesus!
Jack Russell.
I just don't remember. I feel like you said that, and like I'm like, yeah, I know that, but I can't remember any part of that.
First movie that made me cry.
Like, I'm like traumatized.
I'm glad
by that movie. I can't remember any of it.
I'm glad this is an uplifting conversation we're having. The audience is sure to love it.
This is our Halloween episode. Was it supposed to be uplifting?
Yeah.
I mean, all stories are supposed to be like happy
It was
ending.
a dark
but,
and stormy night.
but if you're doing horror, yeah, it's always like in the cat had been dead the whole time and filled with maggots, and like that's always like the punchline of the horror thing.
Bro, that's just Dead Man's Curve for the last 3 days.
Yeah, for sure. So are you a paranormal believer, Joe?
I am. But I
experiences?
believe that it's science that we don't know about yet.
I'm in the exact same boat.
Oh, for sure.
So I think we will figure out that these energies are something, but we don't. Right now, we don't have the tools that can comprehend or measure them. I don't know.
Well, rather than think that it will happen, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm an optimist and think that, like, because only now we're understanding, like, quantum entanglement and things like this, that there is more than meets the eye out there.
And
which is what science is always pursuing.
That does go into my second story.
I think
I
Sam
just
has
wanna say
yeah.
I feel like like using science, like, oh, there's a science behind it, but like if you experience something, then clearly there's a science behind it. That's like a cop out answer, like because science just means like the truth.
Yeah.
Well,
So like obviously.
but
reality
if you
exists.
say that to like somebody who just works in faith or other ways of thinking,
Or like a strict atheist, or
yeah, like a lot of people. Like if you
that dog tail.
yeah, doggies make me laugh.
It's love. It's just the wiggle. Yeah. Of the tail.
Completely throws
Anyway,
off.
Sorry, segue to a dog
yeah,
being in the
yeah.
room with us all of a sudden.
Thanks for freight training us, Sam.
Yeah, good job, little man.
Yeah, dogs. Anyway, paranormal.
Well, what I was gonna say was I have another story. There's something that happened to me that starts off with a little bit of a humble brag. Living in China for a while, like almost 2 years. Yeah.
cultured.
Oh yeah. Humble brag at it. But
I love that you knew we were gonna make fun of you
Yeah,
just immediately. Like,
I'm
humble
tall,
brag.
tall, I'm white, I'm in China.
All right, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
I also have a bunch of stories of being a token white guy in China
Yeah,
where
I
people
bet,
paid me to take pictures on brochures and stuff. So that was a real interesting time.
Hell yeah. Let's get to that in another podcast.
So after I leave China, I moved to Florida, and I didn't know anybody there. That is not a humble brag at all because it's Florida. So I end up living there for 3 months, and one day I show up
Where in Florida?
Jensen Beach, Florida. Yeah,
Where is that?
Port St. Lucie. It's kind of
I
close
mean, I
to
don't know
West
Florida,
Palm.
so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
useless asking. but-
It's every
You
dirtbag
say
needs a
we-
paradise,
Western
and that
Florida?
paradise is Florida.
It's on the Gulf of Mexico.
No, it's on the east side, in the middle.
the shittiest side.
Yeah.
East Coast, about halfway up.
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere there. Okay.
But so
Nailed
I
it.
show up one day,
Perfect.
and there is
Plug.
just 4 loose beers in a plastic bag just on the door handle of my house. And they're all Ting Sao beers, this beer from China that I've never seen anywhere else.
What the?
And I've never met the person who has put it on my door handle. I think about this every week, probably. Like it never leaves my it's on a constant rotation in my mind. I have no idea how it was
Can I
brought
ask you
there.
something on the podcast? And
Yeah.
feel free to not say anything. Did you do shady shit in China?
Oh yeah. Like not shady like that. Anyone
Got hurt?
no one got hurt. Well, so I had a kid once break his leg, and we had to carry him down a 10-flight staircase.
Oh, shit.
So he got hurt, But like I did stuff where they would bring me to the cattle farms and the beehives and everything, and they took a bunch of pictures of me there, and it said American scientists okay the production of bee and honey on this farm, and there's just a bunch of pictures of me in brochures like that.
Oh shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. The spooky part of that story started off with like they would take me out to these farms, and I was like, would you intimidate people? Because you're like oh man.
Well,
I just like
I have all these pictures on my phone. They're amazing, but
Bonus material to come.
I'll post them when we post the
podcast.
Yeah, I'll put them under it.
Yeah.
Plug.
Plug for the podcast.
Plug the podcast. You're listening to Black Sheep and Bad Apples.
Woo woo.
So they also they brought me to the government official Department of Agriculture in China, and they bought me a nice suit and had me go around shaking hands with everybody. They had me go sit down in a corner, and they had, gave me some
the
tea.
Department of Agriculture?
Yeah.
So you just said like
Remember-
the government of China?
Oh yeah.
Because remember, Sam, he's a scientist.
Top American scientist.
Joe, you're like a paid actor
were
of
part of a
other
puppet-
government's propaganda?
You were
Oh
part of
yeah.
that China.
So the deal that they made was I was shaking hands with all these people, and they told the government officials there that I was in charge of Walmart's agricultural department, and that I was going to like donate money to the lady that I work for there, which I still don't know her name, her farm. And whatever the government donated to the farm, Walmart would double. So they were like trying to bump up numbers like that.
Oh my
Oh, wow.
God.
And so like they left, and she ended up just giving me like $20,000, like just like straight cash.
You
Like-
were a corporate mule?
yeah, I was a white face.
Nice.
I think that's more fucked up than being like a drug mule or like an assassin or like breaking a kid's leg. Like,
Are
what
you
the
joking
fuck?
me?
No, I am.
I'll be the token white guy in China. You give me 20 grand to take some pamphlet
Me and Sean
photos.
like leave 3 days later. We're like just like never hear from us
guess-
again.
I
like
guess-
just
I guess
the
this is where you're
dog
hearing
and
from
us
it
are
first.
gone.
Merit Parcel's breaking up.
I got some contacts for you.
Or maybe the whole band will just move to China and we'll start there.
Why? How about I just go take some pamphlet photos and we
And you just come back?
just come back and
Shit.
go on tour in the United States paid on China's pamphlet.
So do you have the contact numbers, Joe? Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, you want to look for India or China? I don't know if they're still around, but that was the outdoor company I work for. They named themselves India or China,
Plug.
like in, kind of. I don't think they're around, but like indie music. That was his like what he said to me. Like, he was like, yeah, like India.
That's exactly. So indie music funding.
Man, we've got this in the bag.
Yeah, XJ Young. That was the guy's name. It was in Shenzhen, China, not Florida. Shenzhen, Florida is a completely different place, and you don't want to go there. That's
We'll find the shell company that.
Yeah.
It's all
Wait,
taken care
So
of.
didn't this story start off as like
Shenzhen, Florida,
Yeah,
not China.
No.
didn't this start
Shenzhen.
Didn't this start off as a story about like a haunting or something?
Yeah, like random beers that got brought to my house. But
I see.
yeah, then it segued.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Some weird stuff happened in Florida or China.
You're like,
I don't remember what third world country I'm talking about.
So how were your travels in China? Was there anything else that was like spooky that you did, or like kind of creepy corporate government thing?
Well,
'Cause now
I
I'm
was there
intrigued.
for a long time, so I got like really used to just wandering around in this really like small little ghetto area that no one spoke English at. And I remember like the big thing, like I would just walk around screaming the Pixies, "Where is my mind?" Just like at the top of my lungs, like just like staring at people,
like
screaming.
wearing headphones.
Yeah, and
Hell
that's
yeah.
when I was like, all right, I got to get out of here. Like, I can't like deal with this place anymore. I
I'm
was
the
going
crazy dude now, and
Yeah.
they're all accepting it. So I probably better leave.
Did you learn any Mandarin while you were there?
Ni hao and shay shay. Hello, thank you. That's it.
Perfect.
I'm polite, but I don't try and like get too much information out of somebody.
You're like, dude, just give me the contract. Give me the
Yeah,
contract.
Joe.
I'll kill
How
him.
tall are you?
Like 6'1".
6'1"? Yeah.
There was a time when someone hit me with a car in China,
And
then
the car broke.
they came out and started yelling at me. And then when I came, like stood up, their head was like up to my chest. So they just got in their car and drove away.
Yeah, I bet.
It was a pretty good one.
Sam, was that a made in China joke about the
Probably.
car? Because that was really creative.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I've seen a lot of like very tiny cars from other places. And Joe, I feel like you could kill a rickshaw before like the rickshaw killed you. Somehow like a compliment. And I hope it's not backhanded. That wasn't meant to be.
Oh man. Well, thank you, Joe. It's been a really good time here. Thank you for the
problem.
shitting your pants story.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna go ahead and close on that note. I want to thank you, Sam, for being here, Mr. Always in attendance.
Always glad to be here.
Yeah, and Sean, You're a fucking lovely co-host.
Oh yeah.
He's a piece of shit.
And
I mean, yeah, you're
thank
great.
you beautiful
Oh, no.
piece of shit, for letting us use this.
Oh
this Fourth
yeah.
Corner Studios.
Plug.
Oh no.
Plug. And fuck Hobo Johnson. I'm your host, Lauren O'Brien.
Wait, what was our corporate beef?
I think Walmart. And fuck Walmart.
And fuck Walmart.
I
And
love Bill Walden.
we had fashion beef now.
Oh yeah, socks and sandals.
Socks and
Yeah.
sandals.
Fuck sandals and socks.
Mandals.
We're black sheep and bad apples, baby.
This
Thanks
was
for
our
listening.
spooky episode.